She said we were disturbing the peace, but the only thing we disturbed was her idea of what peace should sound like. If you've ever been told to turn it down just because someone couldn't control it, this one's for you. Hit like if you've got a neighbor who confuses silence with power. Drop your favorite garage band story in the comments. And subscribe, because this story ends with guitars, signatures, and the most awkward standing ovation in HOA history. It started with a porch, a guitar, and three friends who needed a break. We weren't kids. We weren't loud. We weren't great, but we were decent. And more importantly, we were careful. Sunday afternoons, 4 to 7 p.m. Acoustic only. Volume no louder than the wind. My name's Lenny, 34, graphic designer, reformed basement musician. My wife and I had just bought our first house in a quiet HOA-run neighborhood in Glendale. Clean streets, friendly waves. All good. The porch? It was the deal maker. Broad, shaded, open to the front lawn. A perfect place for music that wasn't trying to be noticed. At least that was the plan. The band was nothing formal. Just me, Chris, drummer turned box cajon wizard, and Elena, vocals that could make strangers pause mid-step. We called ourselves Mild Disturbance, a joke, not a prophecy. Every Sunday we set up folding chairs, sipped iced tea, and ran through a set list of acoustic covers and a few originals. Occasionally a neighbor walking their dog would linger across the street. A few kids sat curbside. One older couple clapped after every song. It was sweet. It was summer, and it didn't last. The first HOA notice came on a Tuesday. White envelope, HOA logo. Inside, "Dear homeowner, we have received a complaint regarding disruptive noise during non-standard hours. Please be advised that all recreational sound amplification must comply with Section 4.2 of the Community Guidelines. Failure to adhere may result in fines." It was unsigned, generic, no details. Just a warning. I reread it 3 times. No one had said anything. No knock. No message. No mention from neighbors. So I posted in the community group chat, "Hey all, just got a noise warning from HOA. Was that about our porch music? We've tried to keep it mellow. Let me know if we crossed a line. Happy to talk." The responses came quick. "Wasn't us. We love the music. My kids sit on the lawn for your Sunday sessions. If anything, it makes this place feel alive." One private message stood out. "Probably Nancy Keppels. She's intense about noise." I replied, "Haven't met her." Response, "You will." That weekend we played again. A little softer. Cut the set short. Still the same faces showed up. More actually. Someone brought lemonade. A teenager waved from a skateboard. Elena's voice drifted across the lawn like something earned. Not forced. No complaints. At least not to us. Monday morning I found her. Not at the door. In the street, phone in hand, taking photos of our porch. I stepped outside. "Morning," she turned. Tall, buttoned blouse, sunglasses indoors type. That tight expression of someone who always wakes up 5 minutes before her alarm and resents it. "Is there a problem?" I asked. She raised the phone. "You'll be getting another notice." Then walked away. So that was Nancy, ex-piano teacher, widow, HOA enthusiast, and according to Amanda next door, retired but aggressively active. She once wrote up a neighbor for holiday inflatables left past January 5th. Another time, she complained about a toddler's birthday banner blocking architectural symmetry. Music was war. The next notice was more specific. Amplified sound heard by residents on 2 separate occasions. Section 4.2, prolonged recreational performance activity on residential porches constitutes misuse of community-facing property. That word, performance, like we were selling tickets. Elena was the first to say it out loud. "If she wants a show, maybe we should give her one." Chris laughed. I didn't, because I was already thinking the same thing. If Nancy was watching, maybe the rest of the world should too. We didn't change the music. We changed the angle. If Nancy wanted to monitor us from behind her blinds, fine. We'd give her something worth capturing, and maybe a few others would want to watch too. So we set up a phone on a tripod, nothing fancy, just an iPhone, wide frame, propped up on the porch railing. Elena made a joke before we started. If this goes viral, I'm buying new sandals. Chris raised a brow. You think this will actually go anywhere? I just smiled. Let's find out. We played 3 songs. Soft, tight, clean. Our sound had matured. More dynamics, better transitions. 1 original, 2 covers. Acoustic, respectful, textured. That evening I edited the video in iMovie, added captions, and uploaded it to YouTube with a simple title, Front Porch Session, HOA-friendly acoustic vibes, sort of. We shared it in the community group, then forgot about it. By Tuesday morning, it had 1,200 views. By Wednesday, 4,300. I started getting DMs, old friends, former coworkers. This yours? When's the album? Is HOA actually mad about this? Comments flooded in. This is the most wholesome rebellion I've ever seen. Your neighbor's a villain in a Pixar short. Please tell me this is a weekly series. We leaned into it, uploaded another session, and another. Elena's voice, framed by sunset light and patio plants, became our signature aesthetic. Chris even built a little sign for the porch rail. Noise violation zone, enter at your own rhythm. It made people laugh, except Nancy. She started filming us back, but not like a fan, like evidence. One evening I caught her across the street, holding her phone vertical, lips pursed, zooming in like she was scanning for proof of something criminal. I waved. She didn't flinch. That night a new notice arrived. This one had a different tone. You are now in repeated violation of HOA sound ordinances. A formal hearing may be initiated if activity continues. You are hereby advised to cease and desist public musical activity from residential property effective immediately. Formal hearing, cease and desist. They were done being polite, so were we. Amanda dropped by that same evening. She brought banana bread. Also, a question. Can I sit in? I blinked. Like, sing? No, just sit. You guys are good. She sat in the front row, alone. We played 4 songs. By the last chord, 2 more lawn chairs had joined her. Then 5, then a dozen. The next week, someone brought a cooler. Someone else brought glow sticks for the kids. We hadn't invited them, but they came. Because sometimes joy makes more noise than rules can contain. Then came the email from a local podcast. Hey, mild disturbance. We saw your HOA sessions. Want to talk about neighbor conflict and community music? We said yes. They called the episode Tiny Rebellions on Quiet Streets. The host asked Elena, what do you say to people who think you're being disruptive? She said, disruption depends on who gets to decide what's normal. I saw that clip reposted 20 times before breakfast. We hit 10K subscribers that week. HOA didn't take it well. An official message was pinned to the community board. Reminder, all amplified public performances are subject to fines under Section 4.2. Repeated violations may result in HOA mediation. It was signed this time. Nancy's name in clean print. I took a photo of it, printed it, and taped it to our amp. By the next weekend, things escalated. We started playing at 4:01 p.m. on the dot, still well before any neighborhood curfew, but now with an audience. Lawn chairs lined the sidewalk. Teenagers sat on curbs. Even joggers slowed down when they passed. Nancy stood in her driveway, arms crossed, watching like a guard at a closed museum. At the end of one set, someone from the crowd shouted, "Play the HOA song." We didn't have one, but maybe we needed one. That night we wrote it. Elena called it Section 4.2. Chris gave it a slow, stomping rhythm, soft but pointed. The chorus, Section 4.2, we hear you loud and clear, but we ain't breaking glass, just breaking fear. We played it the next Sunday. It ended in applause. From a porch, in a neighborhood, where applause wasn't supposed to happen. Then something happened we didn't expect. A van pulled up, not HOA, not police. A guy stepped out with a camera rig and a mic boom. "Hey," he said, "we're filming a piece for the local station. Heard your porch got louder than the rules." We said, "You want an interview?" He said, "We want a front row seat." The HOA was about to learn that when you try to silence music, sometimes it just plays louder. The news segment aired 3 days later. Local 9. Weekend Spotlight. Title card, Porch rocked when neighborhood music meets HOA rules. It opened with drone footage. Our street at golden hour, sunlight flaring off rooftops, people in lawn chairs. Then cut to a slow pan of us playing on the porch. Elena mid-verse, Chris tapping the cajon like it held secrets, and me smiling over a clean acoustic groove. The voiceover was smooth. In one Glendale neighborhood, a simple acoustic session has grown into something more. A weekly ritual, a quiet protest, and a very unexpected online hit. The piece was fair, supportive even. Neighbors spoke on camera. One said, "It's the first time I've ever heard real music in this neighborhood. It's brought us together." Another, "I used to feel like I had to whisper on my own porch. Now I clap." And then, because no story is complete without a villain, they cut to Nancy, standing on her driveway, arms folded, face sharp. It's not about the music, it's about respecting rules. We have structure for a reason. If everyone just does what they want, that's chaos. She didn't know how poetic that sounded. The segment ended with the line, "As the music continues, so does the debate. Who gets to define peace and quiet in modern suburbia?" The video hit YouTube before it finished airing. 100,000 views by midnight, and our subscriber count doubled in a day. That week, we were invited to perform a 3-song set on an indie radio station downtown. The host was a fan of the HOA saga and asked if we'd play Section 4.2 live. We said sure. He streamed it on Instagram. Elena's voice broke a little on the last verse, in the best possible way. The comments exploded. One said, "My HOA just sent me a notice for leaving a potted plant on the wrong side of my porch. This song is my new anthem." The next Sunday, something surreal happened. A woman drove in from Pasadena, said she'd seen the news story, asked if she could sit in. We made space. Then a couple from Burbank showed up. Then 2 guys from a local college. They brought pizza and a Bluetooth speaker in case our amp got shut down. By 6 p.m., our sidewalk looked like a tiny festival. Elena whispered, "We need a name for this." I said, "You mean the band?" "No, the moment." She looked around. The lights, the people, the energy. "This." HOA responded the only way they knew how, with paperwork. The next day, I got a certified letter. It was formal, stiff, and long. A full-page warning stating that we were now considered repeat offenders under HOA code, and that if public disturbance continues, legal consultation may be pursued. That phrase, legal consultation, was the moment I realized something. They had nothing. We weren't breaking noise ordinances. City law allowed residential acoustic music under 75 dB before 9 p.m. We had recorded proof. They were bluffing, and we were winning. That night, Chris got a DM from a guy named Ray Marcus, indie music manager. Ran a small label out of Echo Park. He'd seen the video. He'd heard Section 4.2. His message was short. "I don't sign porch bands, but if you're serious, this could be something." We called him the next day. He asked a lot of questions about our dynamic, our goals, our content schedule. Then he said, "Here's what I'm thinking. Let's get you into a studio. 3 tracks. We'll see how it goes." We didn't scream. We didn't high-five. We just sat there in stunned silence. Then Elena said, "Nancy's going to hate this." We recorded the EP in a converted garage studio 2 towns over. It was surreal. Real mics, real boards. A sound engineer named Max who wore all black and nodded silently like a monk. We did 3 songs. Section 4.2, of course. Amber Street Waltz. Elena's idea, soft and folky. Compliance Never Sang. My lyrics, Chris's rhythm. They came out clean, honest, raw in a way that made people stop scrolling. Ray sent the tracks to 3 local stations. One picked it up, then another. And then, we landed a tiny spot at a community arts festival. One 25-minute set, same day as the neighborhood flea market, same street, 1 block from our HOA office. The flyer made the rounds fast. Live Mild Disturbance Community Arts and Music Fest. This Saturday, 2 p.m., Main Pavilion. I waited for a call, or an email, some last-ditch HOA plea. It came, but not from Nancy, from Jake, A new board member, younger, quieter, seemed reasonable. He said, "Look, I think you should know Nancy's calling an emergency meeting. She's trying to block your festival appearance." I sighed. "Can she?" "Nope," he said, "but she's gonna try." So we did something petty, but also kind of brilliant. We printed new shirts, black and white, simple bold text, "Mild disturbance, Section 4.2 World Tour." We sold 27 in 2 days. 3 board members bought them. One wore his to the next meeting. Nancy? She nearly choked. At the festival, we didn't play for a porch. We played for 100 people. Kids, parents, strangers, even a food truck guy danced during Amber Street Waltz. And after the set, someone from HOA approached us, smiling, holding a clipboard. "I don't want to interrupt," she said, "but would you consider playing at the next general board meeting?" I blinked. "You mean, like, as a warning?" She laughed. "No, as the entertainment." We laughed when she asked, not out of mockery, just the absurdity of it. 2 months ago, we were recreational sound violators. Now we were being invited to open the quarterly HOA meeting. Amanda, who had become something like our unofficial band manager by this point, summed it up perfectly. "You started with a porch. Now you're playing the room where they voted to silence you." We said yes, obviously, but we did it on our terms. Jake texted the official invite later that day. "Bring whatever setup you want, just maybe leave the Section 4.2 shirts at home for this one." I replied with a winking emoji, then packed the shirts anyway. Not to wear, just in case anyone asked to buy one. They would. The meeting was set for a Thursday evening in the rec center's multi-use room, beige walls, stackable chairs, one cracked podium. The most thrilling thing to happen there in a decade was probably the one time someone brought store-bought cookies instead of homemade. We rolled in with an acoustic guitar, a hand drum, and a mic stand with a smiley face sticker. Chris nodded to the crowd. Elena tuned. I adjusted the mic and said, "Thanks for letting us open for your agenda tonight. We're mild disturbance. And don't worry, we read Section 4.2 this time." The crowd laughed, even Jake. Nancy didn't laugh, didn't smile. She sat stiff in the third row, arms folded, eyes locked on us like she was waiting for someone to hand her a taser and permission. We played 2 songs, kept it light. No lyrics about bylaws, no satire, just good, clean harmony and an invitation to relax. When we ended, there was applause, real applause, in the same room where we were once warned was certified mail. Afterward, the board meeting began. We stayed for it, not out of politeness or because we were curious. Jake brought up new community ideas. One member proposed a sunset movie night, another discussed a seed exchange for spring gardens, and then came the unexpected. Proposal to revisit Section 4.2. Adjust language regarding non-amplified musical activity during designated hours. The room shifted. Whispers. Nancy raised her hand. Stiff. Sharp. "This opens the door to chaos." Jake responded without flinching. "It opens the door to community." Vote passed 4-1. Nancy didn't even protest. She just stood up and walked out. No slamming doors, no dramatic farewell. Just her purse over her shoulder, that familiar tension in her shoulders, and an empty chair left behind. That was the last time I saw her at a meeting. From there, things moved fast. The EP went live on Spotify. Local college stations picked it up. We were asked to play a benefit show downtown. Real stage, real lights, real crowd. We weren't famous. We weren't pros. But we were real, and people could feel it. One day, a delivery showed up on my porch. Unmarked box. Inside, a tiny ceramic sign. White background. Black letters. "This porch rocks." No note, no sender. But we hung it immediately. The next HOA newsletter had our photo on the back page. Elena singing, me strumming, Chris grinning like he'd just unlocked a cheat code to middle-aged happiness. Below it, a single line. "Thanks for the music. Let's keep our neighborhood interesting." Claire, my daughter, made a scrapbook of the whole thing. Laminated photos, printouts of angry notices next to glowing DMs. a drawing of our porch with musical notes in the sky. On the final page, a copy of our EP cover, and underneath it, written in marker, from noise to note. We didn't set out to prove anything. Didn't think we'd change rules, win votes, or go viral. We just wanted to play, to breathe, to turn our little corner of the world into something that echoed. And somehow, we did. The last time I played Section 4.2 on that porch, the sun was going down. Elena hit the bridge with her eyes closed. Chris added an extra rhythm under the final line. Neighbors clapped from across the lawn. And somewhere inside that silence after the final chord, the kind of silence you earn, not demand, I realized something. This wasn't about music. This was about permission, to be heard, to be different, to take up space without needing approval. By autumn, the porch wasn't just a porch anymore. It was a stage, a studio, a sanctuary, and a symbol. People started dropping off little things, tokens, a hand-painted stone that read, "Keep playing," a mason jar full of tiny paper notes, each one a lyric suggestion or thank you. Someone even left a miniature amp-shaped candle with a note. This neighborhood's never sounded better. We never asked for any of it, but we kept it all. Ray called in mid-September, said the EP had cracked 15K streams in 3 weeks. Small numbers for some, massive for us. He said, "You're not just a band, you're a story." Then he asked if we'd be open to opening for one of his other acts at a local venue. Elena asked, "Like a real venue?" He said, "With a green room and everything." We said yes, then rehearsed like it was the Grammys. The venue was small, brick walls, warm lights, about 120 people. But it felt big, felt earned. We played 5 songs, 3 originals, 2 covers, all tight, all alive. And when Elena closed the set with Section 4.2, the crowd actually sang along to the chorus. Not because it was a hit, because it was theirs now. Afterward, a guy approached me in the alley behind the venue. Mid-50s, flannel, dad energy. He said, "You're the Porch Band?" I nodded. He said, "My wife made me watch your first video. I've seen it like 10 times now." I laughed. He didn't. He just said, "Thank you. You reminded me that it's okay to do things out loud." Then he disappeared into the night. The HOA never sent another notice. Not even when we played 2 hours straight during the Fall Harvest event. Not even when someone from City Hall dropped by, listened to 2 songs and left with a flyer and a grin. Not even when a group of high schoolers formed their own driveway band 2 blocks over and started calling us the OGs. Nancy's house went up for rent. A young couple moved in. The wife played cello. The husband asked if we could jam sometime. We said absolutely. By winter, we were recording our second EP. Jake handled the graphic design. Amanda helped us get grant funding from the city's Creative Spaces initiative. Chris taught a percussion workshop at the rec center. Elena sang the national anthem at the holiday tree lighting. From our porch, of course. And me? I stood behind my mic, looking out at a crowd that had once been just a lawn. Now, a family. The final track of the EP was called Nancy's Front Row. No lyrics, just finger-picked chords, wind chimes in the background, and soft harmony that builds to silence. We dedicated it to anyone who ever got shushed before they even started. So if you're watching this, if your voice was ever treated like a nuisance, if your art made someone squint, if your sound didn't fit the structure, here's your reminder. Play. Anyway, loud or soft, messy or tight, on stages or porches or folding chairs. Play until the rulebook has to make room for you. Because sometimes, the only way to change the neighborhood is to give it a better song. Thanks for sticking with us. If your band ever got shut down, tell us how you got back up in the comments. Smash like, share with your HOA, and subscribe. Because next time, we're playing the block party, and you're already on the guest list.